Yeah, hi everyone. If like me you've got a Nokia Lumia 920 and you've had it for a little while, you may have this problem that seems to be relatively common, whereby the battery comes loose inside. I dropped mine a couple of times and got a little nick. I mean, the nick can't really be seen. I got a little nick on each corner, so it dropped twice, once I think like that and once like that. On a tile floor, hard tiles, and pretty much since then it's don't know if you can hear that, but the battery wobbles. It certainly, you can feel it. I mean, you can feel it sort of shaking around in there. It's got a little bit of play. Now I think I'm going to open it up. I'm going to see if we can tighten it up again somehow. I'm also keen to see how easily the battery can be replaced if necessary. I've seen this disassembled on YouTube somewhere else, and I still have this screwdriver left over from the Lumia 800 screen replacement video, which is on my channel. And the tip is in good order. I just looked at it. Yep, so I'm not going to damage these screws here. I'll turn on autofocus, see if that helps, and we'll pull it apart, see if we can solve this issue. Okay, here we go. Yep, that sits very nicely. Only a tiny amount of play, so I'm just going to give that a tweak. Yep, it's coming undone. Doesn't feel great. It feels like it's actually, the screw is screwed into plastic. That's what it feels like. Okay, just want to have a look at that up close. Just trying to determine if it was held in by any sealant or anything like that, or if it was just screwed in and that's just a little bit of gunge. I'd be inclined to say there was something on it. In any case, that one's out. Let's go for the other one. Okay, holding everything nice and firm and straight. There's a couple of things I want to look at while I'm in here. I want to look at how the battery's attached, how it's fitted in. I'm going to have a look at the front-facing camera. Okay, that's out as well. It's got the same sort of stuff on it. And I want to look at the proximity sensor, because people also have a problem whereby dust gets in through the earpiece onto the proximity sensor and causes the screen to go blank. So I'm just going to save those in the same order they were. And mine doesn't suffer that problem. I've been keeping it quite clean. But there is a little bit of dust in the eyepiece. I don't know if you can see that. No, but a little bit of dust in the eyepiece there. And if it's possible, I'm going to see if I can just blow it out. Okay, so I've got those two screws out. Next thing I'm going to do here is pop the SIM tray out. Could have done that beforehand. Doesn't matter. Just using the key that comes with the phone. I should check and see if my phone's off, which it isn't. There we go. Goodbye. Just give that a moment to turn itself off completely. It all still looks tidy. Okay, here we go. I'm going to wipe down the edges carefully. Now, I washed my hands in hot soapy water before I started, just to keep everything clean. As you can see, no fingerprints. And I think that is always well worth doing. So it's going to pop out this end. What I need to do. Okay, yep, I'm just putting a little bit of pressure here. and pulling back on the corners, and it has already popped twice. I've heard it go pop pop, and so that's pretty good already. Where to go from there, I'm not entirely sure, but I'll just put my fingernail under there. The screen has got, on the 920, it's got this funny plastic kind of a flange around it, which is not very pretty. Not like the 800, which had no flange. It's very pure design. Now the USB plug, I'm pretty sure stays in the body here. Pretty sure. So I'm just going to keep giving this little push and a bend and a push. See what happens. The whole body's sort of a little bit flexible. I can see there, I can bend it. And so I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to bend it and try and put my fingernail under the edge. I don't want to ruin the flange because it would be visible. So I'm using fingernails here again. Fingernails are not likely to damage the phone body. Well, it's not coming that easily. Right. Now I could, of course, just leave this and turn off the video and go away and pull this apart with a kitchen knife or something, but I won't, because I'm wanting to sort of record what actually happens when you try and do this. Okay, I've just put my thumbnail in there and dragged it along the edge, and that's felt like it did give along there. Yeah, there's little clips of some sort that need to come, sort of need to unsnap. There we go. Okay, so that's that side. Okay, not bad. I'm going to do the same for the other side. This, of course, totally voids my warranty, I'm sure. There we go. So I just ran my fingernail. I was trying to get my finger to go, my thumbnail. So if you haven't got any thumbnails, you might not be much use. But if you've got thumbnails, there's the little plastic flange. And I'm just putting my thumbnail over the edge into this slot and just running it along there, just to try and make it pop, which it did. And so that's now popped on both sides, like that. I'm going to break my phone now by opening it, and we'll see if there's any flex in there. Okay, there's the flex going to the USB. Okay, that looks alright. So the next thing is to pull the entire display, which is really the entire phone, this way, because there's some hooks here at this end that need to come out of this end of the body of the shell. So I'm just going to let it focus. I'm just giving it holding onto the body here, giving it a bit of a pull. Okay, that came out just fine. And something is holding on there, so I just want to try and see what that is. Let's see what I'm destroying. It's the headphone socket. It looks like it's the headphone socket. I'm just going to push that in. Oh yes, there we go. It's like the headphone socket was just, there might be a little bit of sealant just around it. That was just holding on to the hole quite tightly. So I just popped the flat end of this onto the edge of that and pushed it down a little bit. And that just popped out immediately. Okay, now what have we got going on? Let's have a look. Okay. Well, I can see already I'm not going to be getting into the proximity sensor area. Might be able to give it a little bit of a blow. The suspicion is that dirt gets in through the headphone jack or somewhere around there. Little mic, little tiny little mic, little rubber seal around that. Keep the dust out. And then finds its way over to the lens, or goes through the earpiece, of course. That's probably more likely the earpiece, is it? Okay, another thing I want to have a look at, just with a magnifier. I'm just going to have a look at this little lens. Very nice. Okay, now the battery. I'm just going to move this over there like that, which doesn't put any stress on the flex there, so I'm just moving that over there. And I'll just turn the exposure down here so we can maybe see a little bit better. Okay. Now the issue is this battery. How is it held in? Why is it flopping about? Oh, look at that. A lot of movement in there. Lots of movement. Gosh, I don't know how that ever didn't move. Okay. There's a little clip down here. Which isn't much at all, really. Yeah. Gosh. Aha. Okay, I think I found the problem. It looks to me as if when it drops, and I'm going to look through here because I'm pretty sure I'm going to find a little piece of plastic. Somewhere. Sorry, trying to fit my head in here. No, can't see it. Well, it seems obvious to me what has happened in any case. This clip down here, let's see if we can get that nice and close so you can see it. This clip, this is bad design. Okay, is that focusing? Yeah. So this is the battery clip. And it's sprung so that there's a little wedge here in the middle that pushes down on the battery and just holds it in place like that. I mean, it's not much, but it would hold it. Now, I can see right there, I don't know if we can see on the video, see how close I can get, but right there is a bit broken off. I think this is meant to be sitting down, and there's a little tab going over the top of that, but that is clearly, let me see if I can zoom in. Don't know if we're going to be able to see that, but there's definitely some plastic broken off there, just there, which would have held that tab down, which would have held the battery in place much better. I'm just going to look at that with my magnifier, just to be absolutely sure. Well, excuse me. Well, I don't know. I think it maybe it's not broken off. That's possibly a piece of the you know, the, what do you call the little bit that is left over when this piece of plastic is made, and then the little stick there where it's held when it's made is broken off. A little bit of flashing or stuff. What do they call it? I forget what they call it. You know, like when you get a plastic model. Could be that. Could just be that bit sitting there. So maybe it's not broken off. Well, if it isn't broken off, it still seems incredibly weak. That should hold this whole thing down. As you can see, there's a lot of play in there. So, let's fix it. Okay. Little tab up there. So nothing up here. That's the that's all there is for the recharging, for the, you know, the wireless charging. I thought that would be much thicker. That was about 1 millimeter thick, I guess. You know, because they had to sell that separately for the 820, I thought the back would be quite hefty because of that. I guess it is 1 millimeter. Not as thick as I thought it would be, though. It's really the camera that is the standout item back here. The camera's causing the thickness here. Yeah, that's the thickest thing in this camera, in this phone. Okay, back to it again. So, things I'm asking myself are, am I going to undo this? Let me just have a look under here. Just getting a screwdriver. Oh no, that is the same size Torx. Wasn't sure if it was. So the same screwdriver, same Torx driver here. Using it on that little screw there. Just going to pop that up. Not quite sure what's underneath it there. I think it goes all the way under the battery. On this side. There, oh no. It is just a clip. Okay. Just having a look in here. I'm going to try and spin this around while I've got it open. Just going to have a look at that edge again. Okay, no, that is not broken off. I am mistaken there. I don't think it's broken off. I think it's just there, as I was saying, that bit of a little plastic bit where this thing is made. Okay, so that's what's supposed to happen. Instead, these clips here, just the two clips there and there, actually go down and clamp onto a couple of clips down at the bottom of the chamber, attached there and there by that bar, and that's what they do. They hold on to those. There's a click. Oh, no, it doesn't. It holds on to a clip cast into the casing there and there. Just a little tiny tab cast into the casing. That's where that holds on. There's not much to it. Not very impressive. Okay, in any case, so there will be no fancy solutions. There. So next, let's put this back in. Going to ignore it underneath, just leave everything as is under there. And sort out this wobbliness up here. I could simply put something down the side. There's quite a bit of space. Nearly 1 millimeter. That would hold it. Doesn't hold it that way. I'll put this clip back on. It's taking longer than I meant it to take. I'm just checking out a few things while I'm in here. Okay, put that screw back in. Okay, I got it in the hole and I'm winding it backwards. Straighten it up, wind it backwards until I find the thread. There we go. Found it. Make sure it's all down. Okay. And let's decide on what we're going to put in here. I'll put it on this side where it's up against a metal edge. There's a metal edge here with the battery on the side of the thing. And then I'll do something as well to deal with the top-bottom wobble, which I could do up there on that edge, which is also a metal edge. Okay. I'm just having a look around my bench for something suitable. Something that's... how about a piece of Nokia Lumia plastic case? That might do. I don't want to use paper because it just introduces the risk, or cardboard, because that would give me a bit of squeeze, but it just introduces the risk of it soaking up dampness. So let me just use, I think I might use a bit of that case. Okay, this is just a Lumia, the case that the rubber phone case came in. Rubbery. So I'm just going to have a look at that. That's pretty good. Just taking a piece off that. Going to pop it down the edge. That definitely deals with the side to side. Okay. And it only needs to be about that much. There we go. Let's say it's even a little bit. Just a little bit too much, so I'll just take a little bit more off. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, there we go. Yep, there's no sideways movement, but we still have a bit of movement lengthwise, up and down. So I'm just going to hold the end of this in here. This is not quite so obvious. See, down here it seems like I could, it is enough. Actually, that is enough to stop it. Yeah. So, with that in mind, do I put it in there? I think I will. Yeah, there's no way that's moving. It's not a tight squeeze, but it just sort of touches, which is plenty. Okay, I'm just cutting that. It's a bit stupid to have to do something like this. Still, it's an early device, this one, from one of the early batches, I'm sure. Okay, that's tight. That's very nice. Quite pleased with that. Now, what else can we look at while we're in here? Just going to get my brush, my very soft brush. I'm going to be giving this a blow with some compressed air. I'm just going to brush off, loosen bits of dust first, like this. Okay, that's looking good. Up here around the mic and the headphone socket. Okay. I'm using compressed air very carefully. Just using it very carefully. Blow the dust away. Just going to wipe that edge with my finger. Just wiping the edge of this flange bit with my finger. I don't think it needs anything else. Okay, now how about that? How about that eyepiece? I don't think there's really anything I can do about that. Not without pulling it all apart a lot further than this. Sorry for taking the device away from the lens, but I'm just using my little eyepiece to look down the edge here. nothing we can do there. Oh well. Most important things are make sure the lens is clean, you know, the lens cover, and the actual lens. Yep. And we'll put it back together. So to put it back together, we want to shove this bottom end in first. Just lay it back into the box like that. And it feels like nothing's going to work. Oh no, it didn't actually have hooks like the Lumia 800 had. It had 3 sort of hooks that went under the edge, but this didn't really have that, so that's interesting. But it sort of snaps into place down there. And make sure the buttons are all good. And I guess this is something to consider. The top here, the headphone jack, is not going to slide in. It actually really needs to be pushed. Really, it needs to be pushed away from the edge, from the phone body here, so that then it can be pushed down a little bit. So away, then down a little bit, just to get it underneath the edge here. Otherwise, there's no way it's going to go under there. Yeah, so yeah, that's a bit goofy. Doesn't feel great, but sort of shoved it under there like that. We can pull it through. It clips in place, and now this end is all undone again, but perhaps really it has to be done like that. So I'm going to push this end in again now. Well, that's still in place. That seems to work. Hang on. Call me completely stupid. I've just done it from the wrong end. Okay. I'm just going to pull this apart again. Just ignore the last minute of video. I'll leave it in. I'm not embarrassed. That was silly. But hang on, I thought I opened it like this. I got that out as the last thing. The screws are on that end, so that end pops out. But I do recall doing this as the last thing to get this to come apart. That's why I sort of got confused and put it back together again that way. So, in any case, very confusing. Just go back into there. Come on, out you come. Okay. So that was very stupid. Typical of the kind of thing that can happen. Just going to have a quick close look at this area here with my magnifier. Okay, that has little gold contacts that just press against the headphone jack for contact. Looks like it'll be nice and easy to replace that jack if it ever needs to be replaced. So let's do that again. This time, this makes much more sense. We're going to push it in this side. Sorry, we're going to push it in this way. And it's sort of obvious too, because these rounded corners on this end have a little square corner piece of plastic there. There was no way that would sort of squeeze in past the round corner. Whereas this side, it's all round, all the way down. So, okay, let's do that. Push it in. Just going to look for that headphone jack. Yep, that's in place. Okay, This is where we were meant to be a couple minutes ago. Wipe that. Okay, and just squeeze it all together. There. Yep, no pressure, hardly any pressure needed. Just squeeze that together. That's good. There's nothing wobbling in there. And I always thought the glass and that little plastic flange were standing a little bit too proud on the phone. You know, not absolutely dead sort of flush with the surface of the curve here, but rather a little bit of an edge on it. I don't know if other phones are like that, but this one certainly is. Quite different from the Lumia 800, which had a very perfect design, like the glass was put in and then the whole body was machined. It's very nice. Okay, now let's put these screws back in. Start with this one. And I go backwards until I hear the little click, which tells me the thread is in the right place. These are single threaded screws. And the same on this side. Again, backwards. Yep, there it is. And then forwards. I'm going to squeeze the phone slightly. I'm going to squeeze the body slightly, not tight. It looks like it's tight, but I'm not being very tight. Just going to squeeze it slightly to take up any slack between the two shells, between the case and the rest of the phone. Same here. Squeeze it together while I just torque those up. There we go. And these are not very tight, right? I'm not doing it tight. And back to this one, give a little tweak. Okay. That's all that needs. I'll pop the SIM back in. Plunk. And here comes the phone. It's coming on right now. Very nice. Checking I didn't leave any dust inside there. You should do this sort of work at night under a tungsten lamp, not a fluorescent lamp, preferably a proper tungsten bulb. Even better, one that has got an exposed filament, not a frosted one, because it shows up. It creates little highlights on everything, and you can see dust and marks and scratches very nicely with that, whereas with fluoro or in daylight, you really can't see anything like that. It's hard to see marks. That's just a tip. Okay, that all works. And what was I doing? Checking the battery. Yes. No wobble there. No, none whatsoever. I'm hoping that's going to improve the sound of the phone during vibration, because this phone always sounded terrible. It sort of gives a real farty sort of sound. I think that will probably improve that, because it always felt like it sounded as if there was something loose inside the phone, which there was. Just going to clean this case out. If you haven't seen my review of this case, I've got this on my channel. This is the fabulous Nokia, original Nokia case, just like you get with the Lumia 800. You can get them now for the 920, and it is the best case you can get for the 920. It is so tight you can hardly get the phone into it. That's the only downside. Whereas the 800 you could sort of still get it in and out quite easily. With this one, you tend to want to just leave it in. So that's 3 corners. And the last corner, we're just gonna there we go. Yeah, there we go. In fact, rather than trying to pull that case up over the edge, you can try and just push the phone down into it. It's so stiff it actually sort of holds its shape and pops over the edge. So yeah, very nice case. Nice, good solid feeling phone again now. That was a bit irritating, that banging. Anyhow, sorry for taking so long. Hope someone gets something out of that. And thank you for watching. If you like it, give me a like or a subscribe or whatever. I'm going to do more Lumia videos. Particularly, I'm going to do a sort of a 3-month follow-up about owning this device and point out the pros and cons soon. Okay, thanks again. Bye-bye.